So what one thing to one thing to remember when we look at our vision is to mainstream the clinical experience, because we want the vision of our law school clinics rather, okay, to be something that will drive our clinics forward. And so by mainstreaming it, it shouldn't really be just, a one-off. We should try as much as possible to make it as part of how we do things. So again, it may not, it may not be very easy. Each member of the faculty, for example, would have personal freedom, to teach the course the way it should be taught, as far as she or he thinks, right? But if we want, for example, our students to take on that disposition that uh, they're able to learn the rule, the law, the cases, and how they are applied to actual situations, even while they're in law school, and at the same time teach a perspective that they should be helping, a perspective of social justice, then we need to mainstream that clinical experience. And if it involves making certain changes in the way we teach, then perhaps we should take a look at that in in deciding how we are going to teach the subjects. And again, it may not even involve a change in the curriculum. It's really simply a change in the approach to teaching the subject. Responsiveness and relevance, of course, of our clinics will depend on knowing who we are helping, right? For those who are just starting their clinics in law school, it helps that you may already understand where your law school is situated, not just physically, right? Not just physically, but even academically. Uh, you may already be asking yourself, what kind of law clinic do we want? Do we want a law clinic that accepts all forms of legal assistance? We can call that a generalist clinic, as long as they fall within the indigency standard, for example. Then it's something that we will take on. So if that is your vision of the clinic, then we need to understand the needs of the community, right? Uh, how well would our community be able to access us, for example, in terms of getting the legal assistance? No? But for some, for example, who may be working within specific, communities, you may already be serving specific communities. You may be situated in an area with very specific needs, right? I remember Com Jojo when she was dean of her law school, right? They came up with a clinic that was very responsive to the needs of the community, no? Very specific to the needs. And that's something that I think will make the clinical experience very, very important, no? And something that's not easily forgotten, right? So maybe for those starting clinics, we may need to start from there. No? Who are we helping? Who do we want to help? And are we in a position to help those that we want to help? No? Before maybe even deciding on the location of the clinic, before even deciding on ano yung itsura, no? Let's think about, decide, consider ano yung pangangailangan, no? Ano yung pangangailangan? Some of you, for example, that I've spoken to, you've said that you are in an area, your law school is in an area where, of course, there is need for a specific type of lawyering. Great, no? Great. Go for it, right? If your clinic can then address specific issues, then that's an addition to legal capacity already of lawyers. If you can produce lawyers with a very specific uh, training or expertise gotten through the clinical experience, then that's amazing already, right? But not every law school is situated in the same way. Not every law school has the same mandate, right? So it's something that you may need to consider when you're already just starting. So how do you get the community needs? It may involve you or your team, for example, going out, of course, of your law school, finding out, maybe even doing a survey, maybe even asking people, no, uh, if you will allow me, I'll give you an example of UP, the UP College of Law. The UP College of Law, of course, has as a clinic of long standing, the Office of Legal Aid. Uh, some of the lawyers here who graduated from UP went through that, right? The Office of Legal Aid. And the Office of Legal Aid is simply one that caters to indigency needs. As long as the client is indigent, it is something that falls within the docket of OLA, meaning the mandate of OLA, which OLA can handle, and then OLA will handle it, right? But OLA is not equipped to handle very specific needs. For that, we would need other types of clinics, right? So that's the vision of OLA. That's the vision of that particular clinic. It simply addresses itself to a very specific need of a very specific sector. We've decided to diversify our clinics. We've added specific themed clinics, for example, civil and political rights, uh, environment. We've added, for example, 2 government practice tracks. We have partnered with the OSG. We have partnered with the Philippine Competition Commission, for example. And so these specialized clinics are intended to meet the needs that often come to OLA, and because of the lack of training of some of the interns and the lawyers in OLA for those needs, we cannot handle them. But because of the specialized clinics, we're able to address a larger set of people. So again, that's an idea of trying to get what the community needs before we decide, for example, on what our clinic would be like. So yes, you can consider, for example, I want our clinic to be a generalist clinic, right? And then later on become a more specialized clinic. Or you can start small, right? By focusing on a specific need, environment, for example, indigenous peoples, for example, or maybe even labor, right? Uh, or maybe even overseas workers, for example, or just attending to the needs of, for example, those who are detained, right? Uh, People deprived of liberty, persons deprived of liberty. It can simply be a PDL clinic, for example, right? Those fall within the rules. And if we were to base it, for example, on the models of the clinics in the United States, where clinical legal education is really part of the mainstream, you will see so many types of clinics for all sorts of issues. No? Napakadami. Kung anong kaya nilang isipin na issue, kaya nilang gawan ng clinic. No? Wala pa tayo dun. We're not yet there. Hopefully, we will get there. That schools are able to define the specific areas that they can work with, and they can come up with clinics to do that. No? By then, the vision of the Supreme Court under Rule 138A would then become more realizable. But we start with knowing what the community needs. If your law school isn't servicing or helping a specific community yet, then just find out where is your law school situated, or where do you want your clinic situated? Saan mo ilalagay yon, no? At bakit mo dun ilalagay, no? Dun ba may pangangailangan, at ano yung pangangailangan dun?